1 o'clock on the dot. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The Titans have been awarded linebacker Brian Asamoah off of waivers, waiving linebacker Otis Reese. Asamoah has been with Minnesota Vikings since being selected in the third round of the 2022 NFL Draft. In 46 career games with the Vikings, he produced 20 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery on defense, plus an additional 10 tackles and a forced fumble on special teams. In 2024, he saw action in all 17 games for the first time in his career, primarily on special teams. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is expected to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL on Tuesday, September 30th in New York City. This means that Rice is now likely to be able to play the first 4 weeks of the season before any potential discipline is imposed for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. With Rashee Rice now on track for September 30th, this would make him eligible to play the first 4 weeks of the season with games against the Chargers in Brazil, the Eagles at the Giants, and the Ravens. In former Titans news, the 49ers place former first-round pick offensive lineman Andre Dillard on season-ending injured reserve. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, with you for the next 2 hours. Welcome in. Lucas Panzica with you, filling in for Zach Lyons today, alongside the hitman Blaine Bishop, as we get you closer to another Friday, another preseason matchup for the Titans at the Falcons, and we're going to break it all down. What we heard from Cam Ward yesterday, some Tennessee football updates in hour 2 with Ben McKee stopping by. Always great to be with the hitman for a couple hours here, and you're out tomorrow, so this is the last we get to hear from Blaine Bishop ahead of the preseason game against the Falcons.
Let the show go on.
Yeah, we're doing important stuff here.
I'm just one piece of the puzzle, man. Yeah, man. It will be someone. It was someone before, and there will always be someone after the hitman. So
I hear that, but I do want to take this chance to hear what you want to see from the Titans tomorrow that maybe we didn't get enough of a chance to see, or maybe they didn't do well enough either in joint practice or at the Bucs last week, specifically with Cam Ward. We got 2 drives, expect to get 2 drives again tomorrow night. We saw a 3 and out, and then we saw him settle in, right? An 11-play drive, 5 completions, ends with a touchdown, 3 of those 5 completions to Calvin Ridley. But fast forwarding to tomorrow, let's say Cam Ward gets another 2 drives in. In an ideal world, in a perfect scenario, is there something that you would like to see, a situation, a sort of directive from Cam tomorrow night that we maybe didn't see in Tampa?
Ooh, that's kind of a tough one there. Naturally, I'm a big proponent because, you got to take ownership of your team, your offense and defense. So I'd love to see him do a 2-minute drive. I don't know if you want to do that and take him out and then bring him back in. I'm not real big on that in preseason. So for me, against probably most coaches, I want to see him play more, actually. And I'd like to see 3 or 4 drives, depending on how well they do. I want to see him handle throwing a pick, and then I want him to go back out there and respond. Don't want to wait till the regular season. And then I want him to come in after halftime at some point, whether it's this game or next game. It sounds like they're only playing 2 series. I just don't think that's enough for me. And not just for him. I'm just talking about my mindset of what I think I want to see out of my team, especially since I think the offense is the strength of the team. They're going to have to carry, and they're going to have to carry a lot of weight. I want to see the run game get after it. I want to see just say, this drive, we're going to drive down, and every play is going to be a run. You know how happy the offensive line would be? Oh, man. We're going to run, not unless we got to throw on 3rd and, whatever. We just want to do some boot or some play you want to work on. We want to run. We want to get your guys hitting the pads on pads, and let's get physical. And that's not got anything to do with Cam, but that's kind of really all I need to see. There's a big part of me I want to see him come in after halftime. But I don't know if a lot of teams are going to do that. What I'm trying to create, if I'm the coach, is we don't give a crap type attitude, and we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So that's why I think they should play more. Once they've already been playing, they get to the regular season, they're ready to go. So if you're fearing getting hurt, oh well, sorry. That happens all the time. Guess what I'm also doing? I'm also getting those other guys out there some reps to backups, and guess what? You better be ready to rock and roll because you've been getting reps. So I just kind of want to create this environment of like, what do we have to lose? People don't respect us. They don't think we're very good. And, hey, man, let's go. Have this kind of loose atmosphere and culture that, hey, man, whether I make a mistake or not, I'm good. You're not worried about making a mistake or getting yanked out or getting fussed at. That culture is not good for pro athletes, especially when you know those guys are on the team. You have conversations. Those conversations should have been had. Then you say, okay, why in the game did you do it this way? Or why did you make that decision? So that's what I'm kind of looking at this point in time. It's pretty much every team is locked up except for about five guys, maybe. I don't know, every team on average. So you already know who's already locked in. So I want to see a lot of reps about the young receivers. I said last week, I thought when he had bad days, Cam Ward, on interceptions, I thought guys weren't open. Some of them was his fault. Some of it is guys aren't open. So I want to see him get as much playing time versus real good corners or starting corners in the National Football League so they can adapt sooner than later. We know what Lockett can do. You pretty much kind of know what Van Jefferson is, and they haven't even actually targeted him but one time maybe in a game. I know game and practice, but there is a difference when the lights click on for some players. So it does matter, whether good or bad. Some guys get a little tight and tense and don't want to make a mistake. Some guys get loose and say, hey, man, now it's time to rock and roll. So I like to see that a little bit more and go into some of the pieces, depth pieces that I think they showed some signs of that they are formidable and could be a backup in this league.
What do you want to see? Tweet at us. At Lucas Panzica is where you can find me on Twitter. At BBishop23. At Blaine and Zach, where you can follow the show or call in 615-737-1045. We are also on 1045 The Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. The F&M Bank chat is up and running. And again, we have this expectation that Cam Ward plays a couple of series, but I think a lot of people are aligned with you. The idea of a 2-minute drill, the idea of being able to bounce back after making a mistake and seeing that sort of response.
Yeah. I have one more thing, and I'm glad I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget one thing. I want to see a splash play because, I want Robert to be really happy. So I want to see a big, long pass play and score a touchdown, an explosive play. And then I want to see also a receiver catch a sharp pass, and I'm a sharp pass, 10, 15, 20 yards, and then make some people miss. Calvin Ridley, probably the only guy. And then zoom and take off. Those are the things we just hardly ever see. So I want to see that. I want to let that rocket launch of an arm, Cam Ward. Let's see how strong your arm is. Let's see it. Let's go to the first play, call play action to Pollard, and I'm going downtown. Let's see it. If they play man-to-man, do it. I want to see it. That was my next thing. Yeah, I had to write. Yeah, I had to go find my.
Let it rip.
Yeah, I thought about it while I was driving, so I had to pull over and write it down.
Nice. I like your style. That's better than doing it while you're driving.
Yeah.
Preseason games were valuable to you, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm always going to look at that way.
Because you've always had this.
Yeah.
This sort of opinion.
Especially once they changed the 3 preseason games. To a lot of guys weren't playing, and I was really kind of shuffling back and forth on how much they should play. Initially, I was all in on, hardly ever playing, but like a quarter a series. But this is a young team. See, every situation is different. Every team isn't the same. So either you're trying to make your team physical and tough and mentally tough in preseason. You have a young team, you want to get them experience. Or if you have a veteran playoff contending team, you have a good heartbeat on what your team is and what they need to work on. So you may not want to play them as much or certain players. So I think it just depends on where you're at. If you're trying to create a culture of toughness, then we don't care. And everybody's going to play, and we need to figure out who can be playmakers and players for us. I'm all in. So yeah, but I have there's other parts of this game. Coaches, hey man, if I get Cam Warber, you want to play? You want to coach with Brandon Allen? Yeah, no, I don't. But so I get it. So you got to try to meet that medium, in the middle here with a young team. That's why I'm saying all these things about playing, because you really don't know what you have. There's going to be a whole nother level of play and speed when the regular season starts. Here's what happens. Preseason is one speed. I hate to say it this way, but I thought, oh, man, preseason, I did pretty good, man. I think I'm good. Well, we got out there, guys was running by me. I couldn't even told you their number in the regular season. I was like, whoa, what happened? And then the playoffs happened? And then that's a whole nother level, man. It's almost like is some dog chasing this guy, because he never ran this fast when I watched him on tape. So, it's just different. And so he's going to have to get adjusted. And you want to get him as close to that as you can. We can talk about practice. We can talk about preseason game. That's not going to get him ready for the speed of the game it's going to be in a regular season game. It's just not going to happen. So, I want to get him as close and more comfortable as I can, because I think he's kind of the linchpin that can help them overcome things. He's also going to make mistakes, but you want to build him up where he's also the guy that's helping us get over this hump and curve. At some point in time, you realize that, hey, after this season, we're gonna be all right. We just need to have some more pieces, and we're gonna be pretty good, whether it's on offense or defense. We got our quarterback, and that's how you want to feel at the middle to the end of the season. But going into it, you believe that he can be the guy. Now he has to go out there and do it.
Well, he's had 2 joint practices to get a look at this Falcons defense. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to see any of the Falcons defensive starters in this game. Raheem Morris said earlier this week, probably going to sit most starters. Michael Penix Jr. definitely not going to play. He said Kirk Cousins is up in the air, Blaine, but I have a hard time imagining the Falcons rolling out with the 2s on the O-line. And what is he, 37-year-old Kirk Cousins out there after an injury-laden season where he had to get shut down early. How old is Kirk at this point? 36 years old.
36?
Sorry, Kirk, I didn't mean to do that. He turns 37 in 5 days. 5 days. He's about to be 37.
Well, you close. You're really
so I'd be surprised if Kirk Cousins gets rolled out there with a bunch of Falcons backups. Maybe get a lot of Easton Stick tomorrow playing quarterback for the Falcons.
And I see a lot of coaches following this kind of philosophy. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. And their team is somewhat in transition in a younger team.
And Penix didn't play last week either in the preseason.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I just that's a tough call for me. It's almost like you're teaching players not to get hurt and scared to play them. And that happened to me actually in we were going to play a series, and then we ended up playing 2 series. So it was like 12 plays. And I'm out there playing not to get hurt, not to get rolled up on. I'm running to the ball, and I'm like, but I'm slowing down. Like, oh, man, guess what happened? I literally got rolled up on my ankle because I'm trying to avoid. And what I learned from that is every game is a live, real game. This is a real game when I step foot on the field, regardless if it was going to be a scrimmage or a 12-play, preseason game. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get out of there unscathed as a veteran player. It's just hard. You better go balls to the wall, man, or you're going to be in trouble.
What I'm hoping for the Titans is that they're not in trouble when it comes to their wide receiver options this season, outside of Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward is saying otherwise. He's exuding a high level of confidence in that wide receiver room. We'll play for you what the quarterback said and react to it. Coming up next, it's Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone.
Did you know Eurofix has a very different business philosophy? They staff all their locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so they can be ready when an emergency pops up out of nowhere. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, and have you ever noticed how hard it is to get a right now appointment for a vehicle repair? Some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out just to get a freaking appointment, but not Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without the dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty on work performed with the staff that fix your car right now. So if you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, then call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says we will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away, and we mean absolutely right now. And Eurofix repairs all European cars, family-owned for over a quarter century. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But I always tell them, Blaine said ya.
The number one thing you want to see from Titans quarterback Cam Ward tomorrow night in Atlanta. We want to hear from you. 615-737-1045. There is a Twitter poll out at Blaine and Zach is where you can follow the show account. Go and reply on there as well. At Lucas Panzica, at BBishop23. Lucas here filling in for Zach. We are powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. So Cam Ward made some waves yesterday. And this is nothing new, Blaine, the quarterback exuding this type of confidence. I mean, he was doing it. Do you remember before the draft even? This was going all over the place. Cam Ward was streaming a video. It might have been like Fortnite or something. Was streaming a video game, and he had a bunch of people on there asking him all these questions.
Oh, yeah,
who's the best wide receiver in the league? He goes, Calvin Ridley, right? Yeah. Who's the best head coach in the league? Brian Callahan. We're like, all right. Well, you know, the worst kept secret in the NFL, Cam Ward's going to be a Titan. He's been doing this from the jump. But yesterday, Cam Ward gets out there, and he's asked a question about the biggest asset currently with this Titans offense.
Just the playmakers that I have in the backfield with me, the running back core, then especially in the receiving core. I think I honestly have a top 5 receiver core in the NFL, including the young guys who are able to make plays. It's really all about just us or myself putting the ball in their frame of work, letting them make a play. And then it's also those guys being aggressive to make plays for the team. And then the O-line, I don't have to worry about them. That's going to always be the standpoint. Those guys, they bring the energy every day, especially starting with JC. So I'm excited to be behind those guys. Those guys pass protection. They keep me clean. Really, I would say 8 times out of 10. I know I'm going to take a bad sack this year. They're going to give up a sack this year, but we just got to continue to play, good, clean football.
So the O-line getting some flowers there too. But a lot of people reacted to that. Cam Ward saying he's got a top 5 wide receiver core in the NFL on a potentially top 10 offense.
Well, I think it's one of the few times, and probably the only time, I could say I think he missed that by saying top 5. Why did you have to put a number on it? You should have just said, hey, man, we're going to have one of the top receiving groups in the National Football League, and I'm excited about the guys I'm throwing to and, start going down the list. Because obviously, in media, what I've learned is they can parse that part out, and then that's what Cam Ward said, that they got to have a top 5 offense wide receivers. And so that's why, you got to couch it like that. So, I'm sure he believes it's going to be a good unit, a great unit, at least for him. He has to believe that too, by the way. And as a player, I never thought our team was going to be bad. Not one iota. It never dawned on me until you're like week 10, and if your record is bad, you go, dang, man, we can't close out games. And, I was on, some middle-of-the-road teams, 8-8, the Jeff Fisher era in the beginning, man, and it was bad just moving here, and we just couldn't close. We really didn't have enough talent, but we sure believed that we did. And so we had to try to figure out how to close the gap at the end of games and close them out, or not make as many mistakes as far as turnovers and missed tackles or whatever it had been. So, yeah. So I think that was the only misstep there. I think he has to believe that. It's going to be really interesting once after the first 3 games, everybody sees that Calvin Ridley, as I've said, as soon as we signed him and saw him practice, is that, he's a special talent in this league as far as his speed and quickness. Only he can stop himself, to be honest, to being like just a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League. So they got to make sure they get him the ball, and if he does, what can he do with it? He can't be having as many drops as he did. And then you play off of that, and hopefully once that focus starts happening for other teams to focus on him, somebody has to rise to the occasion. And not just, it could be different players each game, whether it's Lockett or Jefferson or one of the rookie, wide receivers, to have a day. Oliver, like, you just feel like someone else. You got to have someone. He can't be the bell cow every game. Sometimes you go into a game plan and you realize during that game, he's our setup. So how do we play off of that to help the other guys? Because he, is getting double. Like, if I was playing the Titans after watching the first couple games, I'd be like, oh, we're going to double him. Well, sometimes you still throw it to him, but sometimes not. Let's say this. We used to double Jimmy Smith for the Jags.
Didn't matter.
Right. I was the guy doubling. I called. I wanted to double him. Guess what? He was still making catches. He just wasn't having over 100 yards. See, so he still was impacting the game without having stats. See, that shows you how guys can impact games even though they don't have the stats and numbers. They're getting double, but that should open it up for the other teammates. So that's what has to happen here, and someone else is going to have to rise up, whether it's different players or not.
And that's what I worry about, Blaine. Charles Davis, I had him on the show yesterday in the first hour, and he mentioned towards the end of that segment, which you can go back and listen on Zone Podcast Network, talking about this Titans pass rush, that there is not that guy right now that in team meeting rooms, offensive line meetings, offensive coordinators, game planning for the Titans that you circle. Someone you have to eliminate from the game. That person doesn't exist in the Titans pass rush. That person does exist in the Titans wide receiver room. It's Calvin Ridley. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's going to happen, especially early on. And you look across that board, that wide receiver room, and it's great that Cam Ward has that sort of confidence. I want him to. I liken it to Diego Pavia going on Paul Feinbaum and saying, we want to win the national championship.
Yeah.
If I'm a Vanderbilt fan, I know we're not going to win the national championship. Like, that's a fact, right? But I love seeing my quarterback go and say that. To me, I feel similarly about Cam Ward. But in reality, I do have a worry about Calvin Ridley being taken out of games, or at least his impact mitigated, like you're talking about with Jimmy Smith. And there being two other receivers that have ever done anything of substance in the NFL, in Van Jefferson and Tyler Lockett, and a bunch of young guys that got to grow up fast. And that's, a larger theme with this football team. Young guys that got to grow up fast on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and that's what scares me is I just don't recall. I'm sure you guys pay attention to all the other teams. I really don't. I pay attention to the Titans. But when was the last time a fourth-round receiver impacted a team for 600 yards or more?
In his rookie year.
Like, I don't know. I'm sure there was somebody, fourth round, that impacted their team and had over 600 yards. So I go, probably didn't happen. So then are they doing it by committee? So do we have a whole bunch of 200 and 300 yard, receivers with the young guys that were drafted, let alone with Lockett and Van Jefferson adding to that? Then now if that does happen, that means other guys did rise opposite of Calvin Ridley, let alone let's throw the tight ends in there and Chig and Gunner. So that's what's going to have to happen. And Cam Ward has to grow up fast, and he can't, make the same mistakes twice. So with that being said, I think then they'll start having the kind of success, and then you're a competitive team. Has there ever been a guy that was in the fourth round?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Johnny on the FNM Bank chat submits Rashee Rice. He was a second-round pick.
I said fourth-round pick.
Amon-Ra is a great. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a great example.
He should have went in the top 2 rounds, and he was pissed off, and he can name all the receivers that went ahead of him.
Including Des Fitzpatrick.
Right, yep. Yeah. See, so that was that. See, one guy, right, who should have been a top 2, 3-round guy at worst-case scenario. Everybody was saying it, because the Titans could have even drafted him.
Yeah.
And then Puka Nacua.
Puka came out of nowhere.
He was a fifth-round guy.
Puka was injured a lot his senior year with ankle injury, I think. Even going into the Senior Bowl, they were one of the bowl games that if it was his ankle. But that he had a lot of upside. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be good. Maybe not that good that fast, but yeah. And you also get Sean McVay, and who's throwing him the football?
Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right. Those guys are the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, right. So we can name 2 guys over the last man. So we're now expecting those guys to be that. What did they have their rookie years, by the way? What did Puka and
Puka broke all sorts of records.
His
Puka
rookie
had,
year, though. I know Cup was out, so that kind of elevated him a little bit. Was that the year?
Jackson just had it. He had over 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns, which was a record for rookies. Crazy.
1,400?
105 catches.
Almost 1,500. 14 away from 1,500.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. So everything from here on out is a disappointment.
I mean, he set the bar pretty damn high. He missed 6 games last year and still came knocking on the door of a 1,000-yard season.
He's a
good player.
Yeah,
he's a fun player.
St. Brown, what did he have?
Just over 900 yards as a rookie.
Yeah. So those guys should have been probably second-round guys for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were expecting them to have that. We don't expect that. If they get 600, both of them, I would be pretty happy. That means they had a successful season.
Yeah. And St. Brown's had nothing but 1,000-yard seasons since that point.
Yeah, he was up there. They were showing highlights of him tearing up whoever they were in the squad in Detroit versus the Dolphins.
Yes.
I saw him in 2 deep balls just running like he was a gazelle.
615-737-1045. By the way, there's some, not to get off topic, this news on Rashee Rice, who is expected to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL on September 30th in New York. For those who don't remember, Rashee Rice pleaded guilty in district court to 2 third-degree felony charges having to do with the hit and run. So one of the charges is collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury. Remember, he got into that accident on the highway and got up and got out of there. And he's facing some of those legal ramifications. Last month, he was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation for his role in that multi-car crash. And his disciplinary hearing with the league is September 30th in New York, which means he's going to play the first month of the season before any discipline comes down from the National Football League. So the Chiefs open the season in Brazil. They'll take on the Chargers in São Paulo. Then they play the Eagles, the Giants, and the Ravens. So if I'm a Chargers, Eagles, Giants, or Ravens fan, and we've got one in the building here, Robert Walsh is not happy about this. I'm like, hey, man, is Rashee Rice going to get suspended after we see him in the early part of the season? I thought that was strange, putting that date down at the end of September.
It's definitely a little sketch. I don't know that, Jackson. What the heck is going on?
So anyway, that one's a little bit off topic, but I just thought that was strange seeing that today. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. So while Cam Ward was lauding his wide receiver core, Colin Cowherd was doing his show at about the same time that Cam held his post-joint practice press conference, and Cowherd was doing a segment previewing or predicting the way that every NFL division will finish in terms of ranking. And when he got to the AFC South, here's part of what he had to say about the Titans.
Mostly been about the Titans, who I think they have the quarterback and the coach for the future, but they've acknowledged, both the quarterback and the coach are acknowledging the offense is struggling. They probably have the worst receiving core in the league. So I think Tennessee will be a fun watch, and I really like Cam Ward.
So moments after Cam Ward is talking about top 5 unit, Colin Cowherd is saying the worst receiving core in the league. I couldn't get over the
worst, though?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
The worst. By the way, he predicted the Titans to finish 3rd in the AFC South. Texans, Colts, Titans, Jags was his prediction.
Oh, man.
Or was it Jags, Titans, Colts? I'm sorry. I might have lost it.
I don't know.
But,
I think he had the Colts as last.
Okay, yeah, I had it wrong. He had
the Colts
Texans,
last.
Jags, Titans, Colts. That's what he had.
What do you think?
About the comment about the worst in the league or about his rankings?
Yeah, his ranking. AFC South.
I think it's about right. To me, the Colts feel like they're at the end of the rope here. It just doesn't feel... Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson competing for your starting job in what looks to be a lame duck head coach GM situation. I don't know what's more beneficial for Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, Blaine. That Anthony Richardson, well, I take that back. I know what's more beneficial. They want Anthony Richardson to win this job and show something. He's their top 5 pick that they invested in that draft. But there's a reality where Daniel Jones just beats out Anthony Richardson and leads the Colts to a very mediocre season. And in the end, Colts leadership, which Jim Irsay, who obviously passed away this year, is no longer a part of, is looking at it and saying, we've got an opportunity for a fresh start here. Like, it feels like the Colts are closer to the end of this current leadership in terms of head coach and GM than they are, closer to the beginning. And Chris Ballard has survived some dreadful quarterback play. I feel like this might be the end of the rope for Chris Ballard in 2025. So I get the Colts being last, and the Titans and Jags just haven't shown anything for you to sit here and say they can contend to win the AFC South. So he went a little chalk with it, I think, but I didn't have too much of a problem with this prediction.
Yeah, it's up for grabs after the Texans because, everybody else's quarterback is up for debate. Even Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like if Lim, that's his name of the head coach?
Liam Cohen.
Yeah, Liam Cohen. If he is not successful with, I guess, getting Trevor Lawrence to, not only Trevor has to stay healthy, but to get over the snide and be that franchise-type quarterback all season long, and they don't win, what happens with Trevor Lawrence? Like, I think this is kind of the end of the road for him, too.
He's got the contract.
Yeah, he's got the contract, man. He's making like $50-something million.
Big money.
Oh, yeah.
Some big number.
55.
Oh, yeah, it's up there. And I just, right now, I just feel like he's an average starting quarterback in the National Football League. And so he hasn't lived up to the number one pick. That's for sure. I was one that thought he would. I was like, oh, man. And for whatever reason, it could be also, organizational, there with all the changing. But even with consistency, when he was playing, it wasn't wowing me. Like, this is the dude. Like, okay, let's say the same situation happened. I know revisionist history, but let's just say it was Mahomes. Let's say it was Peyton Manning. Greatness, you see greatness even in bad seasons. I don't feel like he's got it. I just don't feel like Trevor Lawrence has it.
Well, we're saying, TBD, 4 years after he was drafted.
Right.
So.
Right. No, but I mean,
so I agree with you.
You could still, you should be like, and I wouldn't have given that contract, and I get why they had to, but man, I don't see $50 million player, one of the highest paid players in the National Football League. I don't know, Jackson. You see that, Jackson?
No.
So that was like they had no choice because either we're going to pay him or we're going to go start this process all over.
And the Jags are a fascinating football team to me this year.
So we can't talk too much. We got to make sure we get our quarterback and all our players right. But man, he's got a nice little resume here, and it's not adding up.
I mean, if you look at it, the AFC South right now it's not a good division, right? You're not looking at 4 teams there where there's a path for all 4 to make the playoffs. Like, that's not the case. But you can't say it's not an interesting division. I'm fascinated by the AFC South. I'm fascinated by C.J. Stroud trying to come out of that sophomore slump in Houston to see because remember, Stroud, as much of a step back as he and that offensive line took, and they fired the offensive coordinator, still reached the divisional round of the playoffs. Still a game away from the AFC Championship, even if that game is against the Chiefs on the road, and it feels probably further away than it actually was in that moment. But I'm fascinated to see if there is that regression from the Texans, and regression would be not being in the final 8 in the NFL playoffs. The Colts have a quarterback battle. That doesn't happen that much. You look around.
They paid Daniel Jones $14 million to beat it. And I was like, this may tell you that they think Daniel Jones is the guy.
And he's starting this weekend in the preseason game. So they're alternating. We just don't see – we see battles for starting spots all over the place in the NFL, not really at the quarterback spot. The Colts are making one happen right now. And then the Jags with the Trevor Lawrence thing we've talked about, and the guy who might be the most interesting prospect we've seen in the NFL in the 21st century in Travis Hunter, and how they're going to utilize him. And then there's the Titans over here with the number 1 overall pick playing quarterback.
Yeah, I'm a really fan. I didn't watch the game with Hunter. Did either one of you guys get to see him? I saw highlights, so I don't know what he did.
He had a couple catches, 9 yards. I think he got some snaps defensively. Nothing was really made of it.
I saw a highlight of him missing a tackle. Like he just dove and put his head down. It was somebody just ran around the corner.
Well, I do have the ability to tell you exactly how many snaps he got in the game. We pull up our little
we pull up the highlights.
NFL stats database here.
Also, I'd love to see Stroud's stats from last year to this to the year before, because everybody talking about he had a sophomore slump, but statistically, did he really? I don't know. Maybe it was other issues, and maybe that's what they thought. That's why they got rid of the OC. Remember, by the way, the OC was getting a lot of, hey, he should be a head coach before that.
I don't see Travis Hunter in the snap count here for
I saw him catch one pass in the highlights, and I saw that missed tackle. So he played both sides of the ball.
No. All right. So they put him in to get. So he had 11 snaps on offense, 8 snaps on defense.
And they didn't tell you his stats.
So I'm just looking at his snap count. So he split time pretty evenly.
Yeah.
In this preseason game, he had 2 catches for 9 yards, caught both of his targets for 9 yards. And I can pull up the final defensive stats to see if he ended up having any tackles. Travis Hunter, this was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. By the way, Jags kicker is who stole the show in this game. You see that 70-yard field goal from Cam Little? Travis Hunter did not register a tackle, according to the final game book.
And no reception.
2 catches for 9 yards.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I saw a curl route. It was a sharp pass.
But he got 8 snaps on defense. So here we go.
And those snaps came with the twos.
Okay. Okay, so there you go. He's a starting receiver and a backup corner for the Jacksonville Jags at the moment.
Is that what they're saying?
That's what the snaps that played out last week would say.
I know I was going against the grind, but I thought he was a receiver. I think he could play corner. I just think if I'm in his shoes, I'm only speaking for what I would do. If I'm him, I would focus on offense because offensive players get paid.
Yeah.
And defense is a lot harder to play. This is not college where you're trying to show you both ways. Spot play, maybe on defense, but I would focus my attention on offense. I don't think he's doing that. I think he wants to show that he can play both sides of the ball. I'm more interested in how healthy he can stay. From all the people I talked to that were at Colorado that year, he hardly ever practiced. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about in college, and the physicality in the NFL is going to be much, much tougher. So, he's a young player, so you may be able to get by with it. But that's going to be an interesting dynamic because the only guys that have kind of done it a little bit, we could say Dion. What's some other guys that played both sides of the ball? Charles Woodson a little bit, even in the pros, but mostly he was a DB.
Yeah, I mean, Champ Bailey comes to mind.
Champ Bailey.
But was that more of a special teams / defense thing?
That's a tough one there, man. I just think it's
and that was more in college.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. The physicality. I mentioned it because, the highlight I saw him go try to make a tackle, man, he was driving at a shoestring and he should have hit that guy dead in the jaw. Like it was mano a mano. It was nothing to it. So, yeah, that's, and then, you guys start looking like, nah, man, just stay on offense, man. We're good. We got it. Unless somebody gets injured. But I think they're determined for him to play both sides of the ball. I know a lot of people said he was going to be defensive back, so that the majority was on that side. I was kind of the other way.
Seems like they are determined for him to do exactly that. Titans are determined to find a starter next to Cody Barton, and they've brought in some new candidates for that starting battle, and we'll tell you who they brought in and what it could mean next.
Let's talk insurance. My new client, King and Associates Insurance in Brentwood. They're independent agents, and that's a big difference. But it goes beyond just having multiple companies to shop, weeding out the non-competitive companies, keeping great relationships with the biggest and the best, along with bundling. But unfortunately, life happens, and they get it. So here's a true story about my friend and coworker that switched from a previous independent agent, got better coverage on his home and its contents, even his automobiles, and he had flawless communication, a true champion in his corner, especially after his 16-year-old daughter had an accident, and they still saved them thousands. And thousands from an independent agent who was overcharging him for years. And you can make the switch and save and do the same, if not more. But don't make the switch because he did, I did. Switch because you should. As a business, family, or an individual, make the switch to King and Associates Insurance. And I'm sure you'd have good use for that extra money that you would be saving. So all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-329-8121. That's 329-8121 or online at tkinginsurance.com.
Cover 2, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, continues on 104.5 The Zone. Glad to be hanging out. Lucas Panzica here in place of Zach Lyons for today, alongside the hitman Blaine Bishop, Jackson Williams making the show happen, hanging out until 3 o'clock, 615-737-1045. That's how you jump in. The most wide-open starting competition on this Titans roster going into training camp was probably that linebacker spot next to Cody Barton. Couple weeks of camp go by, and James Williams is the guy that's getting all of those reps. First unofficial depth chart comes out, and the second-year draft pick, the 7th rounder out of Miami, is sitting right there, and it feels like he's in the driver's seat. And then the preseason game against the Bucs happens, and Cody Barton plays a series with the rest of the starting defense. James Williams stays out there. Cedric Gray comes in, has a nice game, co-leader in tackles for the team with 7. And you think, okay, there could be something here still in this competition. And then a bunch of transactions come down from the Titans this past week at that linebacker spot. As early on in the week, they bring in Khaleke Hudson and Blake Lynch. They let go of Benda, the UDFA out of Texas, and Anthony Orji, former Vandy linebacker, and the former New Orleans Saint. Tore his ACL, last week in Tampa. And then they make another move yesterday, bringing in, the name was right in front of me, his first name, Brian Asamoah. Brian Asamoah II from the Minnesota Vikings, former third-round pick, 2022, out of Oklahoma, to Minnesota, 46 games with the Vikings. He produced 20 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery on defense, plus an additional 10 tackles and a forced fumble on special teams. Last season, he saw action in every game, all 17, for the first time in his career, primarily on special teams. And he's released earlier this week by the Vikings. Titans are number 1 in the waiver claim. They go ahead and claim him. They bring him in. They let go of Otis Reese in the process. Otis Reese.
Remember I said that? What happened with Otis Reese? Because I knew that's kind of a guy he would be competing with.
Yep. Who we thought to be right there in the mix for that starting spot.
Well, I don't know if he was competing, but he was definitely for sure going to be a backup. At least you were thinking that anyway. At least I was. So, so for them to release him, man, they must have a lot of value and confidence that Asamoah will be, a guy on the roster at worst case scenario as a backup. So he was at Oklahoma. I don't remember him. Oh, you know what I do remember? Do you guys remember a guy named Asamoah that played in the National Football League there, Jackson? You remember him?
That's dad?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's not. But
he is.
Asamoah. You remember an Asamoah?
Austin Watt?
No.
Asamoah was a corner who finished up with the Raiders. He's actually married to Kerry Washington, who's a big-time actor.
Yeah.
His last name was Asamoah.
Kerry Washington, Scandal, Django Unchained.
That's his wife.
Wow.
And this guy was a Pro Bowl player, and all of a sudden he just kind of fell off, and he kind of does plays and acting now. But he was an elite player. I don't know if they were late or not. This guy looked gunned up, man, when I saw him.
I haven't seen anything to suggest he has anybody in his family that played in the NFL.
I was just wondering if they were related, if y'all knew anything about him, because, that would be kind of interesting, even if it was just a cousin or whatever. But, yeah, that's the Asamoah I know. And he was pretty good there for a little bit there. He was Pro Bowl level. Then he kind of fell off.
Well, I don't know that Brian Asamoah lived up to his as a third-round pick. I don't think he contributed as much as you would like to see from somebody drafted in that area. Great player for Oklahoma. Part of 3 Big 12 championship teams, 179 tackles, 5 sacks, 1 interception in 37 career games there. Part of 2 of those college football playoff teams under Lincoln Riley.
I don't recall because I wasn't watching Oklahoma like that, and they never, at that time, were playing UT. But you know what I did hear from a friend of mine? I don't know if it's true or not, but he said that Asamoah got in a fight at practice with, I want to say it was a former Colt offensive lineman. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't even go look it up. And that kind of carried over to a level that they didn't like. I don't know if that's true. That was just one person saying that. And I'm not, but I was just trying to figure out, why would that make somebody cut somebody? Guys, you get in a fight with your brother all the time, right? I mean, that's kind of what, you are doing there at practice is your brother. So I don't know who the Colt player was. I want to say their last name was Fry. that plays with the Vikings now, but I don't know.
Okay, yes.
Is this true?
Yeah, there are. I'm looking at reports through Titans practice, Titans training camp, where Brian Asamoah kind of popped Aaron Jones a little bit in 11-on-11s. Will Fries, the former Colts lineman, made big money with the Vikings.
There you go.
Shoved him after the play, and Asamoah kind of took a swing there. So yes, there was a bit of a bust up there with Brian Asamoah.
Okay, so I don't know where that went, but at the same time, I kind of like that as a player.
Yeah, he did throw a punch at the big money offensive lineman they brought in.
He
from
wasn't
Indy.
thinking about his hand, though. I'm sure the guy had his helmet on unless he yanked his helmet off and then threw the punch.
So, okay, there you go. So
that was true.
It was. So you just saw that in passing the other week, and here he is.
Oh, yeah. Someone actually told me that, and I just like, oh, that wasn't a big deal. I didn't think it was something to it, but it actually did happen. And when was the date of that? Last week, you said?
August 2nd was what I'm saying, so a little less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think that's why he got cut. But it is kind of weird that the first thing comes to your mind is he's super talented, third-round pick. So why is he not sticking or playing at this point in time as a starter?
Yeah.
And this thing, now you say, okay, let me look and see who's in front of him. Okay, do they have better players in front of them, or are they just kind of waiting till this guy's contract ends, or they're going to move on from a veteran player? So he could be upset that he's not playing, and it's a great opportunity for him here. I don't know, with experience, somewhat of experience as far as playing linebacker. So still young. So yeah, they may got a diamond in the rough.
But do you like what you've seen from James Williams to this point? It feels like the door is open there, but James Williams still probably the leader for that. And Cedric Gray will get snaps for this team this year. But in terms of who's out there rolled out the first snap of the season next to Cody Barton.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say this. Obviously, James Williams was doing something this offseason to be the starter initially. Now, I wasn't privy to what was going on there. And he was out there in OTAs. So it was immediate. So obviously they felt that way. To be honest, going into that, before we saw any of the OTAs, I thought Cedric Gray would probably be more like the guy because he was a higher draft pick, and his background, and he's kind of showing his worth at this point. I thought they were pretty much even. I actually liked Gray a little bit more. I know James Williams has some wild plays, especially the opening kickoff. I think he had a big hit.
Shot out of a cannon.
So that was pretty awesome to see. But I think they're right there in the mix. What I really liked about Gray, though, and it was different, Gray was vocal out there on every single play as though he knew where everybody was supposed to be. I never saw James Williams telling people where to go and where to line up. Now, maybe that's not his duty. Maybe that's the guy who has the green dot. But to me, once you line up, the green dot is just the guy that gets the plays and that relays the plays. Telling everybody else where to go, he didn't ever do that. I saw that a great, let alone I saw Gray play well. I thought they were evenly played well. So it's pick your poison, whatever one you like. But I lean into the smarter players just because that means their reaction and they don't have to just focus on themselves. Especially that's kind of a leadership spot too. So they may want that guy on the bench behind Cody, just so they got a guy that comes in if something happens to him. But it's always good to have two of them out there.
We'll see how those snaps are divided between the two draft classmates from last year.
I don't think they could go wrong though. Either way.
Yeah. Gray, the 4th rounder out of UNC, and Williams, the 7th rounder out of Miami. 6 p.m., the kickoff tomorrow in Atlanta. Tennessee doesn't kick off for another couple of weeks, but big news in Knoxville yesterday. Adidas, the official apparel provider for the Vols for the next 10 years, starting in 2026. We'll also check in on that starting quarterback competition. Fall camp notes as Ben McKee of Go Vols 247 joins us to lead off Hour 2 of Cover 2 next on 104.5 The Zone. Second half of the show, cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Blaine Bishop, Lucas Panzica with you, filling in for Zach Lyons, Jackson Williams, our producer. And we kick off the second hour of the program talking about a big money deal that went down officially just 3 hours east of us yesterday. Ben McKee of GoVols 247 joins us to talk about this deal that Tennessee has gotten into with Adidas for the next decade plus, some training camp notes as well. Ben, good to talk to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to hear from y'all.
Let's jump right in here. I mean, this deal with Adidas, I understand that it kind of crept up and Tennessee fans probably balked at it a little bit. They all remember for me, Ben, it's those undershirt, like little checkerboard short sleeves on the undershirt. That's my lasting memory of the Adidas era for Tennessee football.
Did you not like those?
They weren't great. They weren't great. But I understand Tennessee won a national championship in Adidas. But it's all about the money, Ben. What does this deal accomplish for Tennessee athletics?
Well, exactly that. It's all about the money. Now, before the money talk, I will say that the Adidas jerseys that Tennessee wore when they won the national championship, those mid-'90s Peyton Manning, T. Martin era Adidas jerseys, those looked perfectly fine. So did the ones in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, when they were just very simple, the correct shade of orange, big font numbering, a black outline. I mean, that's all you need. You're Tennessee. You're not Oregon. You've got your home orange. You've got your away whites. That's all it needs to be. And to your point, Lucas, some of those jerseys at the end of the previous Adidas deal were not pretty.
Doing too much.
Doing too much. There were designs within the jersey doing too much, to your point. Sometimes they got the wrong shade of orange on there. It was just a mess, which coincided, of course, with Dooley's era and was very fitting, and at the beginning of Butch as well. The good news is that I don't foresee that happening again. I don't blame Tennessee fans for being nervous because it was a poor product that Adidas was putting out towards the end of their last contract. But I would say that Tennessee will have better leadership in the room this time that will help make those decisions. Their creative team is going to have full ownership of the decisions that are made, their creative team. And there's also going to be better leadership in the room, not only on Tennessee's side, but I think Adidas' side as well. And that's why you're hearing Adidas call Tennessee its flagship program. And from my understanding, they have never referred to another school that they have signed as their flagship program. So I would not worry about the jerseys. But to your initial question, this was all about money. That's what it boiled down to. A day and age where athletes are getting paid, and you need every penny that you can get from a revenue sharing NIL perspective. That's what it boiled down to. And Danny White and his administration would have been a fool to not make this move because Nike did not value Tennessee. It makes no sense to me why Nike did not value Tennessee, but when Tennessee was contractually obligated to take the Adidas offer to Nike, Nike had no interest in having conversations or making a counter offer. Essentially, Nike did not want Tennessee, and Adidas is willing to make Tennessee one of again their flagship program. And in the process of that, they are giving Tennessee what is believed to be one of the 3 highest paid apparel deals in the entire country.
Ben McKee of GoVols 247 with us.
Well, I just want to add to that. You can continue with your questions, but on the jersey front, what do you think is going to happen with the smoky gray and the Halloween blackout? I mean, maybe it was just an accident of that. I mean, do you think those are going to go away? Did you actually like them or not like them? Kind of, take us through what do you think is going to happen with some of the jerseys, at least as far as colors?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the alternate jerseys yet. I think they're still having those conversations. I'm sure that they will have at least one alternate. And if I were going to pick between the smoky grays or the dark mode, I would go with the dark mode. I think those jerseys look really, really slick, especially when they're playing at night. But even, basketball and baseball had some slick all-black uniforms as well. So I'd like to see them stick with those. I am a fan of the smoky gray uniforms. I don't know that I would say that I absolutely love them. My whole thing is just do not wear them during big games. Don't wear them against your rivals, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. I personally consider Kentucky and Vanderbilt a rival for Tennessee as well. Don't wear them in those games, and don't wear them on senior day either. When your seniors are running through the tee for the last time, and that's their final game in Neyland, and they're not wearing orange, which is what Tennessee is known for. That's kind of my only thought there behind the alternate jerseys. And I didn't love the smoky gray, but I liked them. And I think if they can just keep it pretty simple, then I think that they should absolutely continue to rock with them. And I think that's a theme that you're going to see with the new Adidas jerseys is that it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to look like what they have now in Nike. The only difference is there's going to be an Adidas logo on the shoulder rather than a Nike logo.
When I hear the word flagship, I think of Under Armour and Notre Dame and naturally Nike, probably Oregon. How many teams do you think Adidas is, let's give in the term flagshipping, or is Tennessee the number one based off the contract?
The way that it's been worded to me is that Adidas is going to treat Tennessee like it's number one. Now, Adidas is also committing strong resources to other schools as well, right? I think of Kansas basketball. Right. I think of in football right now, the two big ones is Texas A&M and Miami, and those two teams are recruiting very well. They're towards the top of the recruiting rankings year in and year out this decade, and I think Adidas has a big part to do with that because it's not like either of those two programs have won anything of significance, but they continue to recruit really, really well. And I think part of that is because of the ties to Adidas and how in this new NIL era, Adidas is taking care of its student athletes at their schools. And I think you'll see that with Tennessee. So to Lucas's question about kind of why did this happen, I mentioned the money aspect of it. That was obviously the driving force. And behind that driving force was the NIL component. And you're already seeing it was made very clear in the press release yesterday. It's been made very clear behind closed doors that this is really going to help Tennessee in recruiting. And that is an unpopular opinion on social media because some people are overreacting and think that recruits are not going to want to wear Adidas, which do I prefer Nike? Yes, I do. I'm wearing Nike as we speak. Nike socks, Nike shorts. I'd rather be wearing Nike and Jordan than Adidas or Reebok or anything. But if Adidas cut me a fat check, I will happily wear their apparel. And I think that's what you're going to see with these student athletes is that the money was the driving force. This is going to help Tennessee take care of its athletes, and it's also going to help its athletes open more doors, financially speaking, and be a part of more. And they're not even waiting until next July 1st when the contract kicks in. I mean, they are already working on deals with current student athletes and trying to get them into different conference type things to set them up, and they're just going to be taken care of really well. And I think that's why you see Texas A&M and Miami recruiting as well as they are, because they have great resources. I've kind of made the comparison of like now Tennessee has been in a good position financially. I think of it back to Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball does not have a salary cap and you can kind of spend as much money as you want. I think Tennessee is now going to have the ability to play like they're the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers in free agency. And they've kind of gone from that tier 2 financially to potentially that tier 1 financially, which theoretically helps you win championships.
Go Vols 247, Ben McKee.
Yeah, now it's time for it to translate to the field, right? In the next coming years. I mean, there's so much meat on this bone, Ben, when you look at Candace Parker's involvement with her partnership with Adidas, obviously an alumni at Tennessee. And the thing is, Ben, pretty quickly, I think Tennessee fans are going to want to start seeing this turn into results in recruiting and in the portal and in bringing in talent acquisition as Tennessee tries to work through this season and then maybe be poised for yet another championship window with Faison Brandon coming down the pipe in the class of 2026. But focusing on this season, obviously a quarterback competition happening, 3 guys battling it out. Another scrimmage, I believe, set for tomorrow morning as the offense looks for a bit of a bounce back. Have you seen enough, have you heard enough to say that anybody has any sort of edge in this 3-man QB battle?
Absolutely. Joey Aguilar, I think, absolutely has the edge. And it was always expected that he was going to be the starting quarterback August 30th against Syracuse and Atlanta. But I think there was some separation created in their first scrimmage last Saturday, and they are scrimmaging tomorrow morning for the second time this fall camp, and it'll be the last time they scrimmage as well. Only 2 scrimmages this camp. The last one will be tomorrow morning. So Joey has always, everybody's just assumed that he would be the starter. Of course, he's had to go through a legitimate competition, and I think coming out of that first scrimmage, there's absolutely been some separation between him and Jake Merklinger. Now, it hasn't necessarily been because Joey is lighting the world on fire. And I think that's okay. I don't want to. That should not alarm Tennessee fans. He's not. He just got here. Basically, there's going to be an adjustment period to his teammates, his receivers, to the system, to the coaches, and I think that's what you're seeing him go through right now. Like I think the Joey Aguilar that plays against Syracuse here at the end of the month is going to be much different than the Joey Aguilar we potentially see when they play at Mississippi State at the end of September. I think his best football will be as the season moves along, just because of the craziness that happened between him and Nico and when he arrived. So there hasn't been separation because Joey has lit the world on fire. There's been separation because Jake Merklinger just did not have a good scrimmage last Saturday, and has just not cut it, quite frankly, in this quarterback competition, to where now the bigger question is almost, okay, what do you do with that backup quarterback spot? Because George McIntyre, you mentioned Faison Brandon coming in. Faison's going to have his hands full in a quarterback competition next year because the early returns on George have been strong, and they are a big believer in George, and it seems like he absolutely has the potential to be a really good starting quarterback in the SEC. He needs to add more weight. He's not physically ready yet. And then, of course, he's inexperienced as well, just being a true freshman. So I don't mean to be too harsh, but up until this point, it's been more about Jake Merklinger just losing the quarterback competition more so than Joey winning it. But again, I expect Joey to continue to make more and more plays as becomes more comfortable in this system.
Ben McKee with us of GoVols 247.
Well, Ben, I guess kind of give us the lay of the land there with Boo Carter, because from afar, I feel like this is a forced marriage. Tell me otherwise. Is he going to play offense and defense, just defense? Is he even practicing yet? Full go.
He is practicing, and it does kind of feel like it's a forced marriage to an extent. It's hard not to envision Boo leaving at some point based off of everything that transpired over the summer with him missing workouts and just not being a good teammate. And then you've got his mom making crazy comments on Facebook, and the people around Boo are setting him up to fail. Of course, Boo has contributed, but I feel bad for him because the people in his camp are not setting him straight and are telling him what they think he needs to hear, and it's not the right stuff. And so it's hard to envision this working long term, but I guess so far so good since fall camp started. I mean, he's been out there. He's been doing some community work, going over to East Tennessee Children's Hospital here and there, which is probably part of his punishment, I would imagine, or trying to make up for things he missed over the summer. And it's been a slow acclimation period to get back involved, but he has slowly done so. He did get up and apologize to the team in a team meeting, and I think it just kind of depends on your personality. Some people are, okay, he apologized, let's move on now. Myself, I like to hear you apologize, but then on top of apologizing, I need you to show your actions. Actions speak louder than words, and I think he's doing that to a certain extent right now. I mean, he's still out there and he's doing more and more in practice each day, which tells me he's at least maybe taking a baby step in the right direction. But I don't see him playing on offense with all this happening. First, right now, the win would be getting him back on defense. And am I surprised that he is still on the team based off of what happened this summer? Yes, because I think he rubbed his teammates the wrong way, and it's a big risk allowing him to remain in the locker room. But, I mean, we also know that Boo Carter's, when he's right, he's one of Tennessee's best football players. And when you're the best football player, one of the best football players on the team, you're going to have a longer leash than others. So we'll see how it plays out. The writing on the wall may already be there. But in the meantime, I mean, he's practicing and getting ready for whenever his first game will be. I think that's the next big question is will there be a suspension for games? And will he be suspended for the first one? Will he be suspended for 2 to 3 games? I think that's going to be the next question, and that'll probably be determined by how he handles the rest of this month.
What position group, Ben, do you have the most concern with at this point, whether it be a depth or just injuries, or just nobody's kind of stepped up to kind of, take down the helm and say, this is my job?
I do think it's the quarterback position just because of
Oh.
the craziness this offseason. And Joey's just new. Now, I think Joey's going to be solid, again, like I've already said, once he becomes more comfortable. And I say quarterback first and foremost because it's the most important position in all of sports. But to go a different direction and give you a different answer, I would say the receivers. I'm really concerned about the receiver room. I have very, very little faith in it at this point. They decided really not to pursue the transfer portal at that position very hard. I think that they're going to end up regretting that decision. And I actually do like the receivers in the room. I just think they're all inexperienced and young, and they're maybe a year or two away from being good SEC wide receivers. I like Mike Matthews. I like Braylon Staley. I like the 3 freshmen that they brought in, especially Rodarius Jackson from West Tennessee and then Travis Smith Jr. from Atlanta. And there have been good reports on them. It's just that they're true freshmen. And how much can you really expect from them? And then on top of that, I mean, they only have 7 guys, and they've been in and out of the lineup here at the start of fall camp due to various injuries to Chris Brazzell. Braylon Staley was back practicing today for the first time in over a week. Mike Matthews has missed practice here or there and continues to be in a red non-contact jersey. So I was already worried about that position going into camp just because I didn't think they had enough bodies from a pure number perspective, but they also didn't have a ton of proven bodies. And I just don't believe that really in any sport in college athletics you can win something of significance relying on young players. That's just my personal opinion. So I was already worried about that going into camp, and now it's kind of been in and out of the lineup, which makes it really hard on the passing game to establish a rhythm.
Ben McKee, GoVols 247, has been our guest on 104.5 The Zone. Ben, thanks so much for the time, man. Best of luck and great work as always.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Appreciate it, Ben.
Let's break down what he said. With everything Ben McKee just talked about, the concerns, the quarterback battle, what does best case scenario look like for Tennessee in 2025? We'll talk about it. It's Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine Bishop here, and look, we talk all day about training, recovery, staying in shape, but no one wants to talk about what happens when things start to slip in the bedroom. The truth is, ED is more common than you think. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about, man. And at Edge Peptide Therapy, they're helping men get real, long-term solutions that don't just treat symptoms, they fix the problem. Their therapies are built around your body using science-backed peptides and hormone optimizing to restore blood flow, increase sensitivity, and boost performance. And even if things are working, they can help take your sex life to the next level. Yes, check it out on edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com, or you can check them out online at 615-724-1878, 724-1878. And always tell them Blaine sent you.
So a quarterback battle, wide receiver concerns, a seemingly malcontent young defensive back that's working his way back, an All-American corner that is coming off an ACL and trying to get back in time for the season. There are a lot of question marks, plenty of talent, most of it unproven, and some things that you can feel confident about with this Tennessee Vols football team, like a defense that brings back some starters, a defensive line group that, as long as Rodney Gardner is at the helm, I don't think you're ever truly concerned about. But there's no doubt, I think everybody's in agreement, a step back is what's expected of Tennessee football this year. Just how much of a step back is the question. And what the best case scenario is for this Tennessee team in 2025 is an interesting one to me. Welcome back, Cover 2, alongside Blaine Bishop. I'm Lucas Panzica, filling in for Zach today, 615-737-1045. Last season, Blaine, it was college football player for bust for Tennessee, like for me going in. And I know you were saying the same thing. 10 wins needs to be the bar for that team. Hard to say that for this team, but what do we see as the ceiling for this Tennessee football team, and how hard of a discussion is that to have with so many questions at so many pivotal spots?
Well, if the quarterback hits, I still believe if the quarterback hits, quantify that, Jackson, 9 wins is capable. If you look at the schedule, I think they can win 9. Now, will you be in conversations for playoffs, which would be exciting to hear? Yes, but realistically, I don't see that. But I if they hit and they get some breaks here or there, I think they could win 9. Now, on the bottom end of that, I think it could get down to 7, 8. I think 8 is probably like right where they'll be. But, man, if some things go their way, one more win, man, then now you're starting to talk about, conversations. So they are capable. As long as that quarterback, and he may not have the arm talent, but I think he's got some mental fortitude and mental toughness when you watch him play at, in the highlights and everything else. Man, the guy's a tough cookie. Now, it's more than being about tough at quarterback, so he's going to have to make some throws. I haven't seen him throw against SEC competition, so he gets to start off against Syracuse if he's a starter, which everybody's assuming he will be. They may be, rotate quarterback. I don't know. I wonder if that was a consideration here going in. I wonder if anybody's asked Hypo that as well. Everybody's saying, Mertlinger had a bad day, in the scrimmage. And guess what? What if he comes back and have a good day and Aguilar all of a sudden has a bad day in a scrimmage type atmosphere? Then where do you go? So then you may then lead to, hey, let's have one play, one quarter, or whenever I feel like putting the other one in, I will, and then now where you're at with your quarterback. Some people say then you don't have one. And sometimes it works in college when you rotate quarterbacks, if they have different styles of play. I don't think that's the case here. I think Heupel's kind of a guy that likes to stick with one guy. So we'll see how that all plays out. But, yeah, I still feel pretty positive that they can get to 8, 9 wins. Yeah, I don't know. Where are you at?
I'm right there. Well, got to turn my mic on to talk. I'm right there with you. That 9-game range to me feels like the ceiling. This season reminds me so much of going into the 2023 season, where 2023 you were coming off a double-digit win season that nobody expected. Joe Milton was in there, and everybody was intrigued at what Joe Milton could do in the Josh Heupel offense, but everybody knew it was all about what they were going to do the following year with that 5-star kid waiting in the wings. Fast forward to this year, it feels eerily similar, where Joey Aguilar, as you heard Ben McKee say, who has the edge and is probably expected to be the starter, there's kind of this intrigue of what this kid that kind of lit it up at App State one year, took a step back another year, at what he can do in this Josh Heupel offense. But everybody knows that what's waiting in the wings is the number 1 player in the class of 2026, Faison Brandon, the 5-star quarterback. So this kind of just feels like a gap year, hold it down. And there's a scenario, Blaine, where I think Tennessee goes in that 8-4 range, and you finish the season feeling really good about the direction of the program from a recruiting standpoint and with the quarterback situation that's coming down the line. You just have to avoid the fall into the abyss that could be in the cards with all of these moving parts and pieces. Wide receiver is a huge concern for me right now.
Well, I know don't want to go down the schedule, but I'm going to just go down the games I think they can win. And I want you to say yay or nay.
Okay. Just if it's
you with
winnable.
Me, Jackson? All right, it's winnable.
Okay.
Right. Syracuse.
Yeah, that's a winnable
Yes.
game. Yeah.
All right. East Tennessee State.
Yes.
Yes.
That's 2. UAB.
Yes.
Mississippi State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arkansas at home.
Yes.
Kentucky away.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Kentucky's
Oklahoma at home.
It's winnable.
Winnable, but I'm high on that
At
Oklahoma
home.
team.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I know you have.
But
Well,
it
the
is-
quarterback. Hey, what's
okay,
going
so
on?
that's a question mark.
It is winnable.
New Mexico State at home.
Yep.
Yep.
Florida away.
Loss.
Again, winnable. I would predict a loss, but winnable.
Where
Yeah.
are we at right now? One game left. These are
We're at 9 winnable games.
Right. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
See? So the Florida, questionable. So then that puts you at 9 wins. I didn't name all the games.
No, you left
but
out a couple.
Right.
You left out two big
I
ones.
left out Georgia,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama. But those are, you should be in, if not win, all of those games we just listed. And that's 9.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, you know, whether somebody gets hurt or not, or maybe one bad player or a special team, something, okay, 8 wins. Got to win 8. Got to win the games you're supposed to win. And maybe the Florida game is questionable on the road.
I think
Depending on who's their
split
quarterback.
Oklahoma and Florida.
You split Oklahoma and Florida. That's the thing. The schedule is favorable for Tennessee.
Yeah.
It is. Compared to some of these other schedules you look at in the SEC, I saw a metric that had Tennessee as the weakest schedule in the conference, as weak as an SEC schedule can be, which is a rare thing to say about one of the 2 programs that plays Bama and Georgia every single year. It's Tennessee and Auburn, and that's it. But all things considered, it's a workable schedule with all of the parts and pieces that you're not sure about at the moment.
Yeah, if they're not at 8 and possibly at 9 towards the end of the season, I would be a little surprised.
Sure.
That means the quarterback was a debacle as far as it, the Aguilar and then the other guys got in there and spot play and got some experience. Then they'll be disappointed.
And the context of the schedule is so interesting. You play Florida on the road, which has been just a house of nightmares for Tennessee in the 21st century. But it's at the end of the season.
Yep.
It's not that opener. DJ Lagway's had these kind of injury issues in training camp. What does Florida look? Florida could be a team that is steamrolling to the college football playoff by the end of the year. Florida could also be a team that's limping to another 7-win finish, and Billy Napier's already fired. Like the range of possibility feels so wide for Florida in 2025, and you get them at the end of the season. So there's so many different variables. And Blaine, the quarterback situation feels like such a wild card to me because in the Josh Heupel era, it's kind of been this conundrum of you just don't know when a quarterback is going to click under Heupel, right? Joe Milton had all the tools in the world, and they're raving about him in Dallas now. Everywhere he goes in the NFL, it's like people are discovering Joe Milton. Nico Iamaleava and the 5-star, the blue chip pedigree, all of those things. None of them held a candle within the Tennessee offense to what Hendon Hooker did, who was such a pedestrian player at Virginia Tech. And then he arrives in the NFL, and he can't even crack a backup role in Detroit. It's like, what is it about this Heupel offense that Hendon Hooker, who was not this heralded trend? Hell, Heupel and his staff got a look at Hooker in spring practice and said, we got to go get somebody, and brought in Joe Milton.
Right.
And then Hooker got thrown in week 2, and the rest was history. So there's also this wild card element to me about the Heupel offense and what it takes to succeed in that offense that maybe doesn't translate to other pro-style offenses that just kind of leaves the door open for Joey Aguilar to surprise everybody. Maybe that's the optimist in me. I don't know. But it's just kind of this interesting thing because Nico and Joe Milton were the ones with all of the tools and the recruiting and all the pedigree. They were the ones that couldn't take full advantage of some of the stuff that was schemed up for them within the offense.
And that hence then leads me to why I'm still open. Like Aguilar could have success. Not the high profile guy, but who gets the offense running with rhythm and timing that you got to have, especially with the run game. Also, we must have mentioned, they also are replacing some guys on the O-line.
Yep.
Right. So that's going to be
Cooper
valuable.
Mays, lose other guys.
Devonta Spraggins, yeah. There's a lot that they're replacing. Offensively, they bring back about 40% of their production from last year.
Yeah, that's why I thought what's going to be more concerning, I mean, he went right down that road, and Ben McKee is wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because outside of the quarterback, it's like, man, who are going to be the go-to guys? Like you see flashes of Brazel, and then you have the off the field issue, and then the injury issues. Matthews, who hasn't lived up to the 5-star recruit yet. Anyway, so is he going to have a breakout season? They talk about the tight ends, or they're deep, and well, how much are we going to throw to the tight ends? Like in this offense, they get some crumbs, they get some spots, but they're not the focal point. It's the guys on the outside. So I'm interested, at the same time, intrigued and excited if I was a Tennessee fan.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Because it can go down this road that can be super exciting and nobody ever be thinking about Nico.
Well, this season is kind of this mystery box where, because I at least feel good enough about where the floor of the program is now and sort of the foundation that's been built with Heupel from a depth perspective, from a talent perspective, that I feel confident, and I might be eating my words in December. I understand that. But I feel confident. I have confidence that there's not going to be this bottoming out.
Oh, kind of like what Butch Jones did.
Right.
Yeah,
like
I don't think so.
I don't think this is a house of cards.
Nah.
And I don't think this is a playoff team. So it's like, okay, let's see what happens. It's kind of like pressure's off. Let's just sit back and, see what happens out of this quarterback situation. See if one of these freshman receivers contributes, which hasn't really happened in the Heupel era in terms of a true freshman wide receiver doing something of note in this offense. It's a fascinating thing to me. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. 615-737-1045 is the number. We see some phone calls coming in. We'll go straight to the phones on the way out as we finish out the show. It's Cover 2 on 1045 The Zone.
Hey, folks, I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physician for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition, personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And TOA also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, that's right. For more information, go to TOA.com.
615-737-1045. That's how you jump in. Talking best case scenario for the Tennessee Vols in 2025. Lucas Panzica, Blaine Bishop with you till 3 o'clock, wrapping things up on the show. Zach will be back here tomorrow, but Stoney Keeley will be in for Blaine. You can hear both of those guys on Titans Talk Back as well with Dr. Kevin Dyson after the Titans preseason matchup in Atlanta tomorrow night. So back to the phones. Tommy is up next talking Vols. Hey, Tommy.
How you guys doing today? I appreciate all your valid concerns about the team and everything, but I want to throw another spin to it. I don't care which one of the quarterbacks plays, because I have confidence in both, and I know the coaches. I have more confidence in Coach Heupel and the coaching staff than I do either one of the coaches. And here's why this is important to me. Heupel's already proven with Hooker and Milton that he don't care. He's going to put the best player on the team. Mm-hmm. And as a season ticket holder, I've been watching Berklinger, and he's got great legs. He's accurate with the pass, and I have good confidence in him. But I have more confidence in Heupel and the coaching staff. And I know they'll do the right thing, the best thing for the team to put us in the best position. And that gives me confidence going on in the season. I'll hang up and listen to what you guys say. Thank you for talking about the Vols today.
All right, thanks for the call, Tom. A lot of confidence in Josh Heupel.
Yeah, he should. He's had success. Nothing has changed. I think the quarterback situation just kind of keeps him out of the playoffs, maybe. But as far, which then takes you to 10 or more wins. But they'll be right there in the hunt, though. Yeah, he's too good of a coach, and they got too much talent.
Preseason number 24, that means when Tennessee plays Syracuse, it'll be their 39th straight game ranked in the AP top 25.
Really?
Which has not happened since the late 90s. Oh. So Josh Heupel does have that going for him, as meaningless as the preseason AP poll is.
Right.
Philly Mike is up next. What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. What's going on, man?
You got it, Philly Mike?
All right. Pretty good. Hey, I agree with both of you guys. I'm a Vols fan also, along with the Eagles, and I support the Titans. But I think the Vols get to 9 wins, and I think by getting to 9 wins, it will really help recruiting when you add that onto the new apparel agreement, too. So I think it's very important for Coach Heupel to get that done. And I'll give you guys a quick example. As you know, I played college basketball at Division I, St. Joe's in Philly back in the 70s. And we had a contract with Converse, and then Adidas came in back in the 70s, because if you guys remember, Adidas first came to the U.S. In the early 70s. It was huge over in Europe for soccer, as Lucas knows, but it started to come over to the U.S. in the early 70s. So Adidas made a pitch, but the 76ers used to practice at St. Joe's. So we used to watch those guys practice before we practiced. So Dr. J, who had a contract with Converse, told the Converse rep, hey, man, give these guys a good deal. So we ended up a great deal with Converse. We had 2 pair for home games, 2 pair for the road. We had our warm-ups. They did the whole deal. And, Julius was probably the first pro athlete to have a shoe contract, and then Larry, Bird, and Magic followed him with Converse, and then the rest is history. So I think that by having a good apparel contract, and it helped us with recruiting, after that, it'll do the same for Tennessee. So just want to get your thoughts on that.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It better help. As much money it's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
at least, it's supposed to, right?
Well, Ben McKee said, they're working on deals right now. So if you're a Tennessee fan, you're like, okay, then I want to start seeing results right now, right? Like, you want to start seeing commitments. You want to start seeing this impact the class of 2026, the class of 2027. This isn't, it'll pay off 3-4 years down the road type of thing. That's the plan in terms of the wins and hopefully championships for Tennessee athletics. But in terms of the talent acquisition portion of it, like you want to see that type of success starting up front. That money is hitting their account now, not
with
a
that
year
being
from
said,
now.
dude, so how much do you hit the portal with that?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as, giving you extra cash flow to guys that are already proven in this, arena as being successful starters in this league at the college level. So hey man, I think they should be able to compete with the best at this point. Yeah, with that contract. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just wonder at what point will there come a point in the Heupel era, and maybe some of it depends on how this season goes for Tennessee, where the fan base starts to say, okay, like when's that next step coming?
They want more.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to be a program that touts a championship standard, at some point that standard has to apply to how you're doing business, right? And what your expectations are. And Josh Heupel, what he has done to dig Tennessee out of the depths, nobody can question for a second. But there will be a point, and I don't know when that point will be exactly, if it will be at the end of this season or if the Faison Brandon commitment will carry that momentum and excitement into next season. Maybe it'll be at the end of next season where Tennessee fans are like, okay, it's time for us to actually start getting into that place of being in the conversation
for the national title
to win the title. Yeah.
When do you think that'll happen, Jackson? Because I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know, because then next year is going to be another freshman at quarterback, Faison or McIntyre, and you go, okay, well, this will be their first year starting.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about winning a natty with a first year starting at quarterback? I don't know. I think it kind of still buys you time. With the new Adidas contract, how much does that speed it up as far as your expectations in sports, especially football, to win a natty?
I think unless anything drastic bottoming out wise happens, I don't think these conversations really begin until Faison Brandon's second year as a starter.
What if it's George McIntyre's second year starting?
I think that could. If George McIntyre starts next year and he's, really good and you're looking to build on that in year 2, then those conversations definitely could start in 2027.
Yeah, reports on McIntyre have been positive, too. It doesn't sound like, to Ben McKee's point, Joey Aguilar came in as the expected starter. The money attached to him kind of indicated that as well. They were going to let him battle it out, and he had to earn it. But it feels like it's going in that direction. But things have been positive coming out about McIntyre and the way he's kind of handled himself. And he's a good kid, local guy, Brentwood Academy, and has all the tools. And we'll probably have to fill out a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Need to pick up weight. But
Yeah.
if you talk to people, if you say you just watch an eyeball test, he's kind of looked the best.
Yeah.
But they just can't put him out there. He may get broken. You need to put on some LBs. He can borrow some of mine, so I just
What, you trying to get rid of something?
yeah, man. I always try to, man. Yeah.
But just that timeline is interesting for next year when Brandon gets on campus, because McIntyre, Aguilar's gone. Aguilar, by the way, I will say, if Joey Aguilar pops this year, Tennessee fans need to write a thank you note to Diego Pavia. Joey Aguilar is still playing college football because of the exception that Diego Pavia forced the NCAA to make for these JUCO guys looking for another year.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's why Joey Aguilar is still kicking.
All about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, my. You remember that, Jackson?
I do.
I remember Diego, but I didn't know that Aguilar was part of that whole equation.
Yeah, he was part of that whole thing of getting that year. He thought his time was probably going to be up at the end of that second App State year, but he got another crack at it. Thought it was going to be at UCLA. Not so fast. He's going to be at Tennessee. So we'll see. But this is his last year of eligibility. McIntyre and Merklinger are back next year. Faison Brandon is injected into that quarterback room. So you might have yet another quarterback battle. You could have one of those guys hitting the portal, and maybe that means you're trying to find a veteran to come in. But there's no question that the future for Tennessee football, it very well could depend on Faison Brandon. And could that be as a true freshman? I don't know. Vols haven't rolled out a true freshman quarterback in the Heupel era as a starter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Nico had that.
The offense. See, that's why I give
Nico had that red shirt.
Keep George in the conversation. Yeah, dude. He's been there.
But that'll be down the road, and 2025 is what we're looking ahead to here. That Atlanta game against Syracuse, who I don't know. You know what? I don't know anything. I won't be there. I'll be at Geodis Park doing the Nashville SC game against Atlanta United.
Jackson's got to go by himself.
That's right. Oh no, hey, Jackson's with me. We got. Yeah, that's right. He's at the controls for those broadcasts too.
Yep.
But hey, it's a win-win. We get the Tennessee game, 11 a.m., and the Nashville SC on the Zone airwaves Saturday night, August 30th.
Oh, yeah, that's at night.
That's
Perfect.
right. That's right. So there's a lot of good college football, though, week 1.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Ohio State, Texas,
LSU, Clemson. There's a couple of national championship contending matchups. Oh, it's almost here. I can't wait. Blaine, can't wait to do this again with you, man. Always a pleasure.
always fun, man.
Yes, sir.
But in the meantime,
In between time.
peace.